If time is an illusion, if it is merely an appearance, how is time going to lead you to that which is timeless? This is timelessness appearing as time. They are inseparable. This is why no amount of study or trudging on a path can lead you to this, because the path is illusory. Movement is actually a trick of the eye. This is God in static motion. I know that doesn't make logical sense to beliefs and stories, but to isness, to beingness, this is home. You are home.
Hi, Anna.
Hi. Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. How are you doing?
Doing well. How
Yeah,
are you?
I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good.
Mm,
I just wanted to have a chat. This is just good to
mm,
chat. I had a chat with Frank and Tony, which is really great to chat about um, a parent childhood, like all of that kind of stuff. I grew up as a Catholic,
mm.
and I was a Roman Catholic, and I was almost an altar boy, but I was so absent-minded that when the priest asked to bell, I'm saying I missed it completely, so I was fired on the first day. How was your
Oh,
how was your
I
childhood?
remember the bells.
Yeah, the
Yeah, and I
bells,
went to
right?
I went to a
So the
small
priest
con.
was
Yeah,
looking back, and it's like, what is this kid doing?
it's like it's nerve wracking because you have to hit the cue for the bell at the right time, and
Yeah,
you're like sweating bullets. I get it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I didn't do the altar girl thing too much. It was only
yeah,
because I had to
yeah,
get like confirmed or whatever. So many
yeah.
hours of doing
Yeah.
service or whatever it was. But yeah, I remember the bell.
Were you raised Catholic as well, or?
Yes, yes. So I
Yeah.
was
Oh,
raised
wow.
Catholic as well. Yeah, I
Yeah.
went to actually a private Catholic school for 2 years for kindergarten and first grade until I moved to public.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
did that rodeo.
I was in yeah, elementary, high school was Catholic school.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
even more immersed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we had the uniform, and I wanted to
Yes.
talk about, when I was a kid, I was just a very, very I talked to Jesus. You know what I'm saying, and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
like thing. So with this apparent radicalness, you know what I'm saying. Um, there was almost kind of like a holding on to that. You know what I'm saying, to kind of like that kind of stuff in the last kind of like apparent. And how was yours? What was your belief and what was your idea during that time?
Well, you could say there was always something that was off with it. Even whenever I was
Yeah.
going to mass in the private school, I was daydreaming about eating pizza. I'm like, why am I here? This doesn't make sense. And then it never made sense either for confession for me to speak to a man for the things that I think I've done wrong. And
Yeah.
at a very early age, there was a deep seated fuck authority in this character.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. But I
Yeah.
could always kind of snip it out a little bit. Like, why am I going to you? Why is there
Yeah.
a middleman here? And we're talking about priests, but even if we're talking about Jesus, the symbol of Jesus was another middleman. And don't
Yeah.
get me
Yeah. Yeah.
wrong, yeah, he was badass. He was a
Yeah.
rebel. I mean,
Yeah.
the true
Yeah.
essence of Jesus was a rebel. So I
Yeah.
totally relate to that. I
Yeah.
don't relate to the middleman part. So
Yeah. There
yeah,
was
that's
there
all.
was this innocence here in the beginning. And this is just a story. This in the
Yeah,
beginning was this
yeah,
innocence and acceptance. But yeah, that moment of, the apparent moment when it was kind of like, this is an authority figure. This is kind of
Yeah.
like, there was an emerging rebel here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to
Oh yeah.
speak. There was this
Yeah.
emerging rebel that was kind of like questioning everything. I'm like, what does this mean? And
Yeah.
and it questioned, the first thing that it questioned was like, what is this Adam and Eve story? Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I kept on going back to that, and even the confession was really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
The
it's
middleman.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, there was just so much stuff like that was wrong with you or that you needed to
Yeah.
confess or clean up. Yeah. That part just always felt really heavy to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we take that on, don't we, seemingly?
Yeah. So there
Hmm.
was a lot of kind of like belief, at that time, and it was just
Hmm.
innocent
Yeah.
belief and everything that was
Of
kind of like,
course.
and it was pure, but
Yeah.
but when there was a feeling of, how do you say it, off, right? There's
Yeah.
this can't be it. This can't be the truth. There was a
Yeah.
questioning of truth. That's what was the thing was,
Mm.
I'm not going to take that as truth. And there was this inquiring kind of like,
Mhm.
situation where I'm like, I was a nice kid, you know what I'm saying? I was a nice
Yeah.
boy, but the rebellion came in the teenage years.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I get you. It was kind of like a mixed bag. Like there's the sweetness, and
Yeah.
yet there was something inside that was like, no, no BS
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a Sour Patch Kid in a way. Yeah.
Yes. But the
Mhm.
role model at that time was, since I was talking to Jesus, was Jesus, this kind
Yeah.
of like Messiah or something. So I think in the story there was this ingrained kind of like thing that I wanted to be holy,
Yeah. Yeah. Be like Jesus.
be like
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
that kind of thing. And when spirituality came, this is the fun stuff. When the
Yeah.
spirituality thing, I thought I was being a rebel. You know what I'm saying?
Breaking out of the box, baby.
Breaking out of the
Into another
box
box.
into another box. And I was like, you know what? Okay, you know what? This is my own terms now. And that even
Mm.
sounds really funny right now because there's no own, right? It's just like, what was that? So I,
Yeah.
I thought I was in control.
Yeah.
I thought I had finally, there's no more authority, but I had a
Yeah.
lineage.
Hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I, and I had,
In the
and I had
spiritual,
this,
are you talking about the spiritual path, the
the
lineage? Is that what
spiritual
you're
path.
speaking?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So what
Yeah.
was your spiritual journey like?
Oh gosh. So yeah, so we went from religion, so to speak, and there was a dropping at a really young age in
Yeah,
bed one night, just a
yeah,
spontaneous
yeah,
dropping. But I dived into actually religious studies in college because it was just very
yeah.
fascinating to me, and that's how I got exposed to Eastern religion,
That's right.
Eastern
Yeah.
ideations. And so from there, after college, it's just like diving into these kind of spiritual arenas, and then you find YouTube and Instagram, and then oh my god, everyone's selling you something there. And then that's when it was like eating candy out of everyone's little bowl and trying
Yeah.
everything out, which it's just masks. There's nothing wrong with that. It was absolute play. But through all of those different arenas of spirituality, there was something within that still said, this is too much busy work. It's too much like school. There's just a heaviness here. It has to be simple. It has to be simple, even amidst that,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that I call it the buffet. Even in non-duality,
Yes.
there's the buffet. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, let me try
Yo,
this and that, and there's this hungry ghost that has an empty stomach, a hollow stomach, that whatever it eats, it
yeah.
doesn't satisfy it, right? So that's what I
Yeah.
was doing with spirituality as well, and
Hmm.
I was
Yeah.
just going from here to there and here to there, and I thought that, what if I become a teacher, right? And then maybe I won't
Mm.
be hungry anymore.
Mm. I see. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see. Yeah. Isn't it crazy how these things unfold like that? Yeah. And I can't even remember how, like, this teaching, because this taught like meditation and self love and
me
self
too.
acceptance
Yeah.
and things like that. And I really don't even know how it came out like that. It just, you know what, actually, as it's arising, is this used to be a personal trainer and teach yoga. And it
Yeah.
started in the teaching of yoga, of
Yes.
teaching there. And then it just led on from that.
Which is usually
Interesting.
a
Yeah.
gateway thing because
Yeah,
there's the
totally.
union, you know what I'm saying? And there's this
Hmm.
there's the
Hmm.
Yoga Sutras and there's
Yep.
Patanjali and all that kind of stuff in this Eastern mysticism,
Yep.
and it's just really attractive, right?
Hmm.
And
Oh,
um
yeah.
I
And
did
there's so much beauty. I
Kundalini.
mean, and
There's so
there's
much be
beauty
yeah,
and
yeah.
even in the most tight religions, we can find a thread or a silver
Yeah.
lining. You know what I mean? Yeah.
the way that it's seen here now, that there's nothing really wrong or right, and it's
Oh
just a story
gosh.
anyway. So it's not even.
Yeah,
It's really funny though. It's really
it
funny though.
is.
It's kind of like watching those videos when you're a kid.
You're like, oh God, why was I wearing those pants? That's hideous.
Yeah.
MC Hammer, or whatever. Yeah. It's like, oh my God. Yeah.
Did I really
Yeah.
dress up like the Beastie Boys? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
All that kind of stuff is kind of like, but it's all the silliness. It's just silly. That's what it is.
Ye-
It's just silly,
Yeah.
right? It's it's
Yeah.
it's it's almost kind of like I'm like, oh yeah, I was into this and I was into that, but it's just a play. It's
Right. It
just
was like
play.
trends too, though, like following the trend, like this is in, now this is out. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
who says this? Anyways. Yeah. And
And
it's a whole follow the leader dynamic.
and as a
Really. Yeah.
teacher, when I was a teacher, I was always looking for new trends because
Mm,
you
mm.
always have to, because everyone's really hungry for the truth. They think that there's the truth. So but there's no truth. So
You gotta
there's
get higher and
this.
higher and higher.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I found this one. This is called the Merkaba, meditation. That
Yeah.
did you do that?
Totally.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, maybe once or twice, but yeah, I've heard that Merkaba many a times.
Oh, so it's building this. I can't remember what it is. This ship or something. This
Yeah,
crystal thing that you can
yeah.
levitate and meditation. But the power of belief and suggestion. I was just talking
Oh,
about this in my
yeah,
4 day thing, right? That
yeah.
that every belief and every kind of like suggestion and understanding is really empty. But the
Hmm.
power
Yeah.
of it, is so someone is there kind of like telling you this Merkaba thing, and
Mhm.
and kind of like play, kind of like playing house and everything. Here we are playing kind of like, oh yeah, I've reached that higher level of this kind of stuff, and then I was believing in what do you call those again?
Oh, Atlantis and
Atlantis.
Lemuria.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
it's
Oh,
just,
yeah.
and I was just kind of like really, really into it. I'm not going to name the teacher, but there's this big teacher in Sedona, right? I think you
Oh,
probably,
yeah. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
we might
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was in awe. Like, I'm like, this is an ascended
Mm.
master.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then my switch, I'm like, I want to become an ascended master at that time. You're like a
Mm.
little kid, you kind of like,
Yeah.
it's like play, right? You're kind of like looking
Yeah.
up to kind of like I don't know, Superman or something. I
Yeah.
wanted I wanted to be Superman, and I thought he had superpowers.
Mm. Yeah.
I thought that
Yeah.
he was like an Atlantean or something, or what's the other one? There's another one that's from a different planet or something. Do you
Like
remember that one?
Pallades or
Pallades, yeah, 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 yeah. That
Sirius, or
that
there's
he's
many. Yeah.
yeah. There's many. So I got into that, and I got into a bit of ascension because it's the thread
Yes.
of that one, and and
Yes.
um. And this is just, we're just talking about it. It's kind of like, it's just funny. It's just fun play,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
how was your
totally.
experience with Ascension?
Yes, and you know what was amazing with the ascension is it's really related to like Christianity in a
Oh,
way with
is
the
it?
Christ
Oh,
consciousness.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's about reaching
The
Christ
grids.
consciousness, and for Christians it's about saving yourself, right? Which is
Yeah,
very similar, just different verbiage,
yeah.
but it's about reaching a higher consciousness. It's about a movement away. And so yeah, this played in the ascension process as well, and it's an ascending process of you moving to higher states of consciousness, which is no different than, let's say, someone altering a habit, shifting, going to therapy and coming out feeling a little better. It's just emotional shifts. That's all it
Yeah.
is, and that's when we think, oh, today I'm really grateful. My heart is open. So I'm definitely in like the eighth dimension. But when I'm
Yeah.
sad, I'm probably like in the third, and I
The
shouldn't be
third.
like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, not
yeah,
cool. Not cool. No one wants
yeah.
to be in the third,
I got into that. I was one of those seekers that was just jumping from different places to different places, right? I tried all
Mm.
kinds of meditation. I was a meditation
Mhm.
junkie. Like I was one of
Yeah.
those that if I did not meditate, my day was fucked, right? I was kind of like,
Yeah. Oh gosh. It becomes a new addiction.
yeah.
Yeah. Total addiction. That's all it is, really. Yeah. And we cling to the meditation like a pacifier in a way. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It
Hmm.
was it was it was my pacifier because there
Yeah.
was this turmoil, right? There's this turmoil of there's got to be something better than this, which is a running play. It's a running tape.
Hmm.
It's just this broadcast, right? That is
Yeah.
happening. That what's seen, what's this, the non-negotiable is always negotiated.
Mm.
There's
The
got to be
non-negotiable. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's always a negotiation with seeking. It
yeah,
always is.
yeah.
It's always looking for confirmation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then of course, in my search of ascended masters, I started, looking for different ascended masters, and and it went to channeling. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
much
yeah.
out there.
Oh,
You name
nothing.
it, it's
Yeah.
out there.
Nothing wrong or right about that. It's just a
No.
play. It's just,
Yeah.
whatever, right? And
Yeah.
I kind of like see that there's this illusory wound, and then we look for illusory band-aids.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
we have illusory shackles and we try to find illusory key.
That's right. Yeah. Or kind of like
Yeah.
looking for completeness, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this will
Yeah.
completely. Maybe I'm an ascended master.
Yeah. Or maybe I'm an alien. I'm a
Maybe an
star seed. Remember
alien.
that one? I'm sure we heard
Yes.
that too,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. And it's always about a specialness. Really, if we go to
Yes.
the root of it, it's all about I need to be special and
That's
stand
right.
out. Really,
That's right.
that's the root of it, which is
Yeah.
play. Yeah.
And then there was manifestation.
Mm.
Did you do a board?
Law of attraction, baby.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah. Abraham
Oh.
Hicks, those types of
Yeah.
genres of, yeah. Oh, yeah, my goodness. Tried all of those types of things. And it really came from, I just want to feel better. I never felt like you were saying earlier, I didn't feel in control with Christianity. This feels
Yeah.
like power or some kind of control
Yes.
over my life
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
which actually seemed to bring on more neurosis and anxiety and blips of unworthiness. Because if I wasn't
Oh,
manifesting something, then it was my fault.
that's
Something's
right.
off
That's
here,
right.
something's broke. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't have the what do you call it? I'm not clear or something. I don't know what it was
Yeah, my
before.
vibration's too
My
low or whatever
vibration's too
though.
low.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course with that one, the power of now. It's kind of like the
Mm.
history of seeking of these characters, Anna and Emerson.
I know, it's so funny. This is a fun conversation though, and
It
it's going
is.
to be relatable. Totally.
It
Yeah.
is, but
Mhm.
there's not even a history. But this is just a
Yeah.
fun play. But
Yeah.
with the power of now, that was kind of like I remember during that time I was into Kundalini and then the power
Mhm.
of now at the same time. And
Yeah.
and
Those are interesting combinations.
they are. So I used to I read the book, and then
Mhm.
there was a in the book there was a flowering of consciousness.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
would buy this orchid, and then one day
Mhm.
it was flowering. I was like, my consciousness is flowering.
It's yeah, right. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy, It's oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow,
How was your experience with that?
it was just like that. It was always looking for evidence to confirm a
Yeah.
belief, whether it was negative or positive. Like, oh, that's what that means, those numbers or that animal totem. It's like always trying to pinpoint some reference to here. And it was exhausting. Oh, the flower's not blooming today. My
That's
consciousness must be
right.
shriveled and
That's
not
right.
there. Yeah, it's like, and then it's like all of that seems to just drop because we were taught all of those things.
Yeah.
Those are not organic,
No,
obviously.
no, no. It's yeah, and when the power of now came, there was this belief that I was in the now, right? I was
Yeah,
just in
or
the
I have to
now.
practice being in the now,
Yes.
you know?
And
Yeah.
the worst was, um, I was looking at people and I was saying that I'm sorry, Dad, you're not in the now. I'm going to give you this book to get you in the now. You're
Right.
operating from the ego mind or something.
Ouch. Right. Oh. Yeah. I bought my mom the
Did
Power
you?
of Now for Mother's Day, and it collected dust, brother.
Yeah.
Lots of dust.
Yeah, and I saw I saw the book too. Just I like, yeah, dust. I'm like, did you read it? It was just one of those things, but I
Mhm.
was so sure that I was right.
Yeah, I
That
get
I
you.
was right.
That arrogance.
That
Yeah.
arrogance.
This came here. I came up
Yeah,
here too.
and
Totally.
it's that underlying specialness that I'm holy, that I'm a descended master, that I'm separate from this and all this kind of whatever.
Or we're a
This
light worker and we're here to,
Yeah, but
save the
it all
planet.
stems from
Yeah.
unworthiness. If you really look at it,
Yes.
right?
Oh
I'm not
God,
worthy,
yes.
so I'm
Yeah.
actually something. So it's this
Yeah.
imagination or this fantasy.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
this it's really fascinating. And then after that, what did it do? Oh, and after that, A Course in Miracles. Did you get into that?
I didn't go dive
Yeah,
heavy into it, but I would read little quotes here and there. And I'll be honest, there's some beautiful
there
quotes and
are, there
passages in
are,
there
there
that will bring
are,
you to tears.
there
But yeah,
are.
it's a course. But
It's a
yeah, go for it. Tell
course.
me, tell me what
Oh
happened.
yeah,
What
yeah.
happened?
When I so I had this story, what I'm saying. The
Mhm.
story was that I was that I didn't believe in God anymore, that kind of thing,
Mm.
right? I was this rebellious kind of stuff and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and then I was agnostic, and then the Course of Miracle dropped,
Mhm.
And out of nowhere, I think I was downloading illegally through Pirate Bay, or Demon. Do you remember those?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was,
Far a
uh,
rebel.
I was downloading the God Delusion by Dyer or something, one of those
Uh,
books, right? But inside, some of Course in Miracle people, this is just a story, put the Course in Miracles inside the file, and I was like, what the hell? So to me, that was a sign, that was a
yeah,
synchronicity, and I really took that seriously, and I was
yeah,
like God is
yeah,
trying to find me, right?
yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I
Yeah,
get you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I started listening to that, and I remember kind of like just reading it, and there were some beautiful stuff. There was like a marriage
Oh
of
yeah.
Christianity and
Yeah.
Buddhism, right? It's
Yes.
this kind of
Yeah.
like stuff, and again during that time it was really, but it became laborious, right? Because it was about
Hmm.
learning, and then what happened was I started going to these communities,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden it reeked of religion.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
not the course,
It can
but
go
the
there quick. Yeah.
it can go there really really quick,
Yeah.
and all the all the lingo really kind of like was triggering, kind of like the kingdom, the
Yeah.
brotherhood. It's really
Yeah.
patriarchal too, right? The brotherhood, the kingdom, the
Yeah. Where's the
sonship.
sisters here?
you know
Jeez, guys, come on
the
now.
Holy Spirit, well, that's the sister supposed to be.
Yeah, a lot of separation,
A lot
right?
of
Yeah.
separation, and I was kind of like, and it just got really convoluted, and all of a sudden there was this, I thought I got rid of the ascended masters. I'm not going to name the author, but there was this book about the disappearance of something, and there was this ascended masters that show up, and of course I was imagining that again and again, that imagination of separation. See,
Yeah.
when I came into, well, no one came into religion. When religion apparently happened here,
Hmm.
there
Hmm.
was this understanding that someone greater than me, that's outside of me, will save me. And then
Yeah.
spirituality came, and I thought I had control, that the higher me will save me. But that's separation. And that's
Yeah.
what it felt like with A Course in Miracles. Although there's beautiful, kind of like really
Yeah.
clear
Yeah. Yeah.
sentences there, but there's also a lot of contradictions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of practice and all that kind of stuff. And I did
Hmm.
it for a long, long time. So I would do the practices because there's a daily practice. And if I missed
Hmm.
one day, I would start it over again.
Oh gosh, you were dedicated. You were a dedicated disciple.
This character is always super dedicated. So it's really
Yeah.
surprising now that it's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like
Yeah.
there's no one now.
Yeah.
There's just this, that idea of dedication was just this strongly held on to
Yeah.
belief that it's really transparently empty. It's like, what
Yeah.
was that? Where's that even
Isn't
coming from? It's 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 mind-boggling that there's no mind that creates
yeah.
all of this, right? It's like the uncreated. This is uncreated. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't make any logical
It
sense.
doesn't make any logical sense, and so all of that is a practice of the mind, right?
Yeah.
It's like a mind
Yeah.
training, and
Yeah.
but when you see that there's no Jedi, so there's no Jedi training needed. There's
Mm.
no journey. There's
Mm.
no Star Wars. It's kind of like my
Mm.
version of Star Wars, kind of
Yeah.
like I need to find my Obi-Wan, or you know what I'm saying, my Yoda,
You're
kind of like
right.
thing, right? It's just
Right.
another story.
Right. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Unless you're actually training for some kind of fight, or then that may actually appear, but that's still freedom appearing as training as a badass
Yeah,
fighter, or
yeah.
whatever it is. You know what I
That's
mean?
that's
Yeah.
why it's just a silly story right now, but
Yeah.
it's a fun thing to do now. It's
Mm-hmm.
not making fun of
Mm.
it because there was
Oh
there was
God.
enjoyment in it, and there
Oh no,
was,
but we can poke fun at it, but
yes,
without it being
yeah,
like from a position of arrogance and
no,
I'm
no, no,
higher than that. It's
yeah,
more just
yeah.
like a
It's
wow. You're
it's a
like,
silly
yeah.
it's a silly game that required practice.
Yeah,
How can
absolutely.
how can
Yeah.
a game require practice? You know what I'm saying? A play. You know what I'm saying? Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
But some games do like basketball, right?
that's true. That's true. Everything
Mm,
is just what
interesting.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. And then what else happened at that time? So yeah, there was this Course in Miracle, and that got me into awareness and consciousness.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, and
That's
then I
that
got
big word,
into,
right?
and then I thought I hit the, this is it now, and I was like, oh wow, right? So I was teaching spirituality, and I was teaching Advaita at that time, and of course,
Mm.
after all of that, that I was kind of like, oh, I'm better than this now. I'm better than A Course in
Yeah.
Miracles now.
Yeah.
Although I was
I've
still
graduated.
I
Yeah.
graduated. Although
Yeah.
because I'm the kind of person that wants to cover everything. Like I'll cover Buddha, Jesus, Hinduism, ascended
Cover
masters.
all
Yeah,
of it. Mix it
because one
all
of
together.
all together. Um, did you get into that too?
Well, I mean, when I was studying religion in college, it was a little bit
Yeah,
of Hinduism, Buddhism,
yeah,
Christianity, a little bit of everything, but I really leaned heavier into like Buddhism and Hinduism. I really found that very interesting. It wasn't anything I took on as like, I'm a Buddhist now, or I'm
yeah,
a this now.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? It was just like tasting things, especially Zen. Zen was
yeah,
something that really fell into my lap, which has
yeah.
beautiful pointings,
There
So
is there is some beautiful pointings in Zen as well.
yeah.
Wang Po, those brilliant.
No,
Who
I'm
did
nervous.
you
It
um
wasn't any. It wasn't any.
yeah,
Alan Watts was probably the
Alan
one
Watts.
author
Yeah,
that really Zen. You know what I mean? But I
yeah,
didn't dive into tons of authors and stuff like. It was really
yeah,
skimming. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Hmm.
into Alan Watts too. There's still
Yeah.
some Alan Watts stuff that's really great. You know what I'm saying?
He's
There's just
beautiful. Yeah.
it's just
Beautiful
I
character.
I like
Yeah.
his I like that he was also a drunk. You know what I'm saying?
He died an alcoholic.
That's
The body
right.
did. Yeah. The
And he
character
was
died an
did you know
alcoholic.
that he was a priest before?
He was for a
He
bit.
was
Yeah.
a priest,
Interesting, isn't that? Yeah.
and then at the height of his priesthood, he was really a popular priest, right? He turned his back because it was not resonating with him.
Yeah.
Talk about a
Yeah.
complete
I've read
rebel.
about. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he started kind of like just be kind of like a sponge of everything.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and 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 um and it was just this openness that I liked about him. There was this
Oh yeah.
openness of everything and not really coming into conclusion and calling himself an
Right.
entertainer.
Right. He just liked to talk about it. And he's like,
Yeah.
hey, might as well get paid for it. I remember him
Yeah.
saying that. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
just, he enjoyed speaking about it.
Yeah.
He was a lecturer. Yeah.
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 And I really really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
And then there was this when I got into the awareness, there was a lot of confusion about it, right? Because
Hmm.
there was this clarity,
Hmm.
there was some clarity in what was being said, and then all of a sudden it would contradict it. Like
Yeah.
watch your thoughts, that kind of stuff, abide in awareness and all that stuff. Again, nothing wrong or right about that. But
Right.
I was like, looking for awareness all the time.
God. And no one can
Waiting.
abide in that forever. It's a
Yeah.
state, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's so
It's a
hard.
nice trick though.
Yeah.
It's a
I
nice
get it.
trick because you can be like, I'm in awareness,
Oh,
you know?
oh yeah. I'm
Yeah.
above the body.
I'm
I can
above the
watch my thoughts.
body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just the addressing of the addressing, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like
Mhm.
that it was just so convoluted. And it was just
Yeah.
no wonder I had headaches, all the time. But since I was a teacher, I was
Mhm.
always expressing it. So I would just be like, according to this sage,
You would reference, don't put it on me, but according to them.
according to this sage, and they'll be like, oh, that's beautiful, because they do have beautiful kind of like sentences
Oh, of
that doesn't
course.
that doesn't make sense sometimes. It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't even know what they just said, but wow. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
get you. It doesn't,
yeah.
yeah.
When
Isn't
there's
it
a
amazing
talk
though? It
about, yeah, yeah,
contradicts, and then we kneel to the contradiction or whatever it is. It doesn't
yeah,
make sense, but yeah.
but like religion,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't really, um, it just reeks of separation. And
Mhm.
then, although it will say that you're not separate or something, there are some kernels to it. And then
Yeah.
when it becomes a flavored popcorn with 52 different flavors, you know what I'm saying?
Because yeah, like we were saying, even in non-duality can, or advaita can even be a new religion.
Yes,
You know.
yes. And I got into that
Yeah.
non-duality buffet as well, right? I was
Yeah.
devouring everything, and
Yeah.
there was this devotional and all this kind of stuff, and it was really
Yeah.
confusing at that
Yeah.
time. And so when there's a parent, unhappening that doesn't happen to anyone, there was, as we talked about this, there was this purge. It was just kind of like,
Mm.
what the
Yeah.
what the
Uncomfortable
it's
as
like
hell.
you've been in a dream, you know what I'm saying, that's just awkward. And
Yeah.
then all of that awkwardness is because there's someone that's trying to learn something that cannot be learned.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
there's a knowledge that does not really have any basis,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
there's no time, there's no memory. How can there be knowledge? There's
Yeah.
no How can there be wisdom when there is no history? How does that
Mhm.
happen? But all of this are force fed in this persistent illusion that
Mhm.
there's this, even though that the non-duality or non-separation or without the opposites is talking about being expressed, but
Yeah.
there's this practice that you can do to get into awareness, or there's this I am that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And for some, they catch that. For some, they catch that. And they go,
yeah,
okay, practices is for the mind. Then why are we doing these? I mean, I
yes.
caught that totally. It didn't
Yeah,
make any
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was not making sense to me, and it was just really kind of like, but I was really knee deep into teaching at that time, right? So
How do you pull out of that? Yeah.
how do you do that? How do you do that? And I was
Yeah.
talking about sutras and what else was I talking? Bhagavad Gita, which is supposed to be
Hmm.
non-dualistic and all this kind of
Hmm.
stuff, and Upanishads, and
Hmm.
although there are some pointers there
Yeah.
that can really kind of like express the wholeness of everything, but
Yeah.
somehow there's this, it's like, how do you explain that? How do you, it's like there's always this, I'm like, this is bullshit a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like when truth is mixed with bullshit, it's still bullshit, right?
Yeah.
There's
No,
this,
if there's still shit there,
it's still
there's
shit
still
there.
shit.
Yeah. It's still covered
Yeah.
in shit. So I'm not going to take
And you
that,
can sense it though. That's what's amazing is like it
Yeah.
can be sensed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, it was just really um, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
It
greatest way to put it. What once you loved automatically just becomes, can't
yeah.
be in this anymore. It feels so wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there was earnestness, when I was
Yeah.
when I started teaching this, and because I was in love with it, this
Yeah.
idea was in love with the idea that
Hmm.
this idea is going to help someone, and
Yeah.
since it helped me, well, the
Hmm.
idea that it helped me, this idea can also help another idea to get
Yeah.
better.
Basically. Yeah.
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 So I would even catch myself kind of like, saying stuff that, um, I took it personally, all the
Mm.
teachings and everything. So it
Mm.
was very personal to me, and it was just, but because I was blissful, because if you help, homeless people every day, if you walk every day and bring joy, there's also
Mhm.
joy, this blissfulness.
Yeah.
And I was being earnest, I was not doing
Yeah.
it for show or anything.
Yeah.
I didn't even really
Yeah.
mention it to a lot of people, but I would
Yeah.
do this compassionate walks, said silly now with San
Yeah.
Miguel, and handing out sandwiches and everything. But I thought that by doing selfless service, that it was my
Yeah.
ticket to liberation. And I
Oh
did feel
yeah.
that. I did feel that there was this liberation, there was this happiness that, of course, after like, years in corporate job, and you're doing something that you think that you love,
Hmm.
that it feels really freeing. But
Yeah.
what happened is when crises happen, ooh,
Now what?
now
Yeah.
what? I have
That's the
this perma
real
smile
test.
image,
Yeah. Yeah.
this, yeah, yeah. How was, did anything happen like that to you? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. And that's what this is always sharing is, my God, we're speaking about, I mean, it appears as crisis.
Yeah,
It appears as physical suffering. It appears
yeah,
as stress or whatever is arising. It's just we have so much misconceptions of what freedom or liberation is. We think freedom is ending challenges or pain or crisis, but it's like there's always silver linings. To have a name and a body, there's going to be pain, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be apparent crises, but
yeah,
that's why have a body. I stay as vapors, be void,
yeah,
be the abyss. I mean,
yeah,
there's a joy in it. It's a weird to say that, but just
yeah,
like when you
yeah,
work out, or we were talking about rock climbing, when you're pulling, shredding that muscle or you
yeah.
slip, there's like a joy though
There
in getting
is.
back up into that,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, can't
yeah,
explain it, but you get
yeah.
me.
I
Yeah.
get you. I get you.
Yeah.
It's, and that's what it was, right? Because I thought that by doing the awareness, the meditation, the
Yeah.
kriyas, all of the stuff that I've done,
Oh, the
I
kriyas. Yeah.
remember the kriyas.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
will whiten my teeth. You
I
can buy
wish. No.
you can buy crust strips. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
I'm just joking, but I'm poking fun at it. But it's true. You know what I'm saying? That there was a time that I really believed in every single,
Yeah.
stuff, and there's nothing wrong or right about that again.
No.
But so all of this, I had this, my friend, my best friend at that time, when I was going through this mess, I was just going through a mess. She goes, with all the love in her heart, Emerson, you have all the tools in your belt. You teach this stuff.
Mm,
And I'm like, I'm going to such a messy stuff. It's like, it was almost kind of like the extremes of the character, the saint and the sinner,
mm-hmm.
right? It's just
Yeah.
this. I'm like, who am I? That kind of thing, and all of that stuff is rejected. And like, oh, I can't, like, because there was
Yes.
a time that I was just such in so much suffering that after 3 hours of meditation, and there's this nagging feeling that, is there any different from sitting here than going to a bar with my buddies and talk about my problems?
Right.
And I was just so isolated in meditation.
Yeah.
And when you become a
Yeah.
teacher, it's really lonely because
Yeah.
you think that you have all the you are a knower, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're giving your knowledge and you're giving this
Mm-hmm.
energy, all that kind of stuff, and you
Mm-hmm.
almost have
Yeah.
to be a high vibration. You think that
Yeah.
you have to be, or
Because you're a leader,
you're a
man. You're the
leader.
way
Yeah.
shower. Remember
Although
that word? The way shower.
oh,
Yeah. You got to
were
show
you a
the
way
way.
shower?
You know it.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
So when I thought that, because I did a whole bunch of, although I bought like 3 thick books about chakras.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a
I
lot, actually.
Yeah, because I didn't understand it. So,
Yeah.
but at that
Who
time,
does?
who does? So at that time, it was the in thing
Mm,
to all the other spiritual teachers are doing chakra, kind of like
mm.
balancing or alignment. And then you realize there's more chakras, and you're like, where does this stop? So I was teaching these workshops, really knowing that I did not, although I read the 3 books, I have no idea why and how and all this stuff. But there was a part of me that's a really big bullshit detector because,
Uh,
and it was basically saying that you're bullshitting. So I was doing all
mm,
of this stuff. And then
mm.
that nagging thing stayed, you know what I'm saying? That everything that I'm doing is bullshit. So might as well fuck it up.
So what'd you do? How'd you fuck it up?
Um, when someone kissed my feet, and this is actually
Oh, yeah.
this story, right? When
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
when there was this, and then at that time, because I was just frustrated with the awareness and the consciousness and everything, because I'm like, I can't abide in awareness while I'm thinking that my mom might pass away from brain
Yeah.
surgeries, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And even that, and I had to come, like, almost had this, even though some of the teachers saying just be vulnerable, I could
Yeah.
not. I could not, right?
Right.
Because I've
Yes.
been practiced, you know what I'm saying? I've practiced this, and
Be a
here I am,
statue.
be a
Yeah.
statue, and all
Yeah.
of this stuff. And from what I was reading, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's beliefs that, you don't transfer this to your student
Mm, mm,
because I
mm-mm.
am higher.
Right. You
Yeah.
can't be seen crying. You
Yeah, you
can't be
can't see me.
seen, hugging your mother or
Yeah.
weeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's low.
So
You've got to
even
be
at that time,
above the human stuff,
yeah,
right?
it was just, you
Yeah.
have to be above suffering. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Life will show us otherwise, huh?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
that's right. So I'm like,
Yep.
I'm about to go my dark night of the soul, but I think I went through this already. All right, this is
Mm,
something that
yeah.
kind of like, happened to me already. Why is this happening again? I've logged in 10,000 hours of meditation. I'm teaching it, right? And
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
this idea that's really a really held on belief system that
Yeah.
I'm good now. I'm good
Right.
now. My karma
Right.
points are, I'm a platinum karma card holder. I just, it's
Yeah.
me. Come on. I've
Yeah.
done so many good deeds
Yeah.
when no one's
What is
looking.
this shit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is this
Yeah.
shit? What the hell?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
of course at that time I was going through a divorce. And that was just
Oh,
like at the same
yeah.
time.
Super
And
stressful. Yeah.
and so I was trapped in a role that I could no longer maintain because at night this is how I was fucking it up. I would go out with my friends and just have fun. Because
Yeah.
being a spiritual
Yeah.
teacher is no fun. Did you have fun as a spiritual teacher, honestly?
I mean, okay, so there was
There was some
joy.
fun. Yeah, yeah.
Obviously there was moments of beautiful joy
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
community and things like that. But
Yeah.
the trying to be pious and pure and clean
Yeah.
and whatever, stain free,
Yeah.
obviously is a chore and it's not
Yeah.
natural. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
I-
it's nice to have a beer, watch
Yes.
football, eat pizza,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. I remember one time that I was drinking beer just one
Yeah.
beer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And someone came up to me and basically said, "That's really irresponsible, Emerson."
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
It's so
and
toxic. It's so low.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but during the end of that time, I just didn't care about it anymore because
Yeah.
I was just gonna like I was a rebel again, or I was rebelling
Right.
against
It's good.
spirituality, and
Yeah. Mhm.
so I would go with this other teacher, and we would look at a restaurant first to see if anyone is there anyone that we know because we're going to get shit faced tonight, that kind of thing. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Oh
You
geez.
know, I really want to go
Woo.
dancing because one time I was dancing, and I love dancing. I'm a DJ. Of course,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love to be in
Yeah.
the dance floor. Or so I would always make sure that if I see some students, I'm holding water. Although I
Oh,
want to get, I just wanted to have a couple of shots and a
oh,
beer and just dance, right?
I see what you're
I
saying.
would
Yeah.
say that, oh, I'm just drinking water, and they would feel like, oh, Emerson, it's maintaining that image, that
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
It was just,
Secretly,
this is
they didn't know it was vodka. No.
That's right.
Just kidding.
Couple of shots, fast, fast. I have some
Yeah.
mouthwash, It's kind of like,
I am so hydrated over here.
that's
Yeah.
right. And then my friend would actually tell me, you're living a double life. You're so,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, I am. And then so
Oh.
when that kind of like time when I encountered this communication, which was nuts. You know what I'm saying? Because
Oh God. Yeah.
here was kind of like this privileged kind of like spiritual teacher, kind of like
Yeah.
with the high status, thinking that I have the high
Hmm.
status with this you know 1 billion karma points. I'm like,
Yeah.
but I've done all my work. I've done all my
Yeah.
I've
Hmm.
cleansed all my chakras. I aligned everything. I have done my inner child work. I've worked through all my traumas, all that kind of stuff. I've done
Right.
with my inner child. I went to my dark night of the soul, that kind of stuff. And nothing prepares you for what is. It was kind
No.
of like, what do you mean that I don't have any status?
Yeah. Yeah. It can life can be ruthless,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean, it's amazing. Just laser
yeah.
beams right. Oh my God. And you're just naked and raw. Yeah.
Did you have that dark night of the soul, Anna?
See, I would say, I don't know if I'd call it a dark night of the soul because this character had heavy depression, anxiety. So it's like
Yeah,
I
so
didn't have something
that was your trauma kind of thing. That was
you
your or
yeah.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
was your
whatever you want to
obstacle.
call it. Yeah, but you
Yeah,
could say there was a desert period after I
yeah,
was in the ascension stuff, and then Jim Newman popped out of nowhere and was like,
yeah,
"Yeah, this is hopeless. There's
yeah,
no you. This is it," And there
yeah.
was, even though there was such an alignment, if you will, or a resonation with what he was saying, it didn't mean there wasn't going to be a purge or what we call a withdrawal from those
Yes.
old beliefs. Those old
Yeah.
beliefs totally came up and taunted. Are you
Oh yeah,
sure?
yeah,
Are you
yeah, yeah,
sure?
yeah.
Yeah, and then students fell away, bank account dwindled, job reoriented, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff, and you're just like, oh shit.
Shit, what
So
up?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a withdrawal that arose here that was, we could say, painful and it was very uncomfortable, totally.
Yeah,
But there was
yeah.
still something, like you could say, that was like there was an all is well or everything's okay, a center contentment, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it was a death wish, right? It was a death wish because it was
Mhm.
going through it was getting really suicidal because the life
Oh
was a
yeah.
mess, nothing
Yeah.
was working anymore. The teacher slowly getting canceled, it encountering this communication, and this
Yeah.
communication is, although it was very resonating, it was also
Yeah.
very much rejected. It was
Totally.
so rejected because there was this
Yeah.
held on to beliefs that this is the way that my life is going, and
Right.
this is my journey. And then when all of that identification is ripped off,
Hmm.
the glimpses that would happen were not the same. I've had tons of glimpses ever since I was a kid and everything. There's
Hmm.
this seeing, and that's all a story. So there was
Right.
glimpses even in all of that kind of stuff, but this
Hmm.
resonance was all of a sudden different. There
Yeah.
was this kind of like, huh,
Yeah.
there's no more fantasy behind it,
Right.
right? There's no more kind of like,
Yeah.
I am oneness now, that I am everything now, all that kind of stuff. All of this I got cut
Yeah.
off, right? It's almost like it seems like that the I is the unification, but it's actually the separation.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting?
Isn't it interesting, right? The
It
moment that the
is.
I comes, the I idea that I am
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
it kind of like the illusion of segregation appears,
Yeah.
right? It's just
Yeah.
kind of like, and
Yeah.
because it's internalized, right? There's no internal
Hmm.
and external, and somehow it's internalized that I am going through. And then I found Richard Sylvester's book. I want to give you. It was called
Which one was it? I hope you die
I
soon.
hope you
I
die
hope you
soon.
die soon.
So
Yeah.
since I had a death wish, I was kind of
Yeah.
like, ooh,
Well, that's
you know what I'm
fitting.
saying? Ooh,
Yeah.
this is a
That's,
book about non-duality, and it's about, and I read it, and I saw Tony Parsons, and honestly, I was I was kind of like at that time, when I first saw Tony, there was this disgust, and not disgust, but there was this.
that was your first impression. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
it was, and
Wow.
there was also this openness about it, but there's this rejection at the same time. There was this anger,
Yeah. That. Yeah.
frustration, and
Hmm.
um and it's funny because in my retreat last week, someone basically said, fuck you, Emerson, in the beginning.
All
Because
right.
it was getting, it was, although there was, all basically I did was to talk about this unknowable nothing for
Yeah.
12 sessions. It was just exhausting thing that everything is nothing in a
Yeah.
different angle, right? If, for example, if
Yeah.
you look at time, it's really nothing. If you look
Mhm.
at perception, it's really nothing. Belief is really nothing. So it was very repetitious, very
Yeah.
repetitious. And I said, and this doesn't cannot really be understood because this is the absence of understanding of
Yeah.
what's being expressed here.
Yeah.
So to someone listening to that, communication, it's frustrating.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If an idea is listening, a concept. Yeah, totally. But it's like, that's why it can just be just, oh my God, obvious for some. And then others, it's just,
Yeah.
why is that? I can't
Yeah.
say, but there's, yeah.
For me, it was too obvious,
Yeah.
and also the me
Mhm.
rejected it. But the obviousness was that there's this resonance of this emptiness. It's
Yeah.
empty. The
Yeah.
words are empty. It
Yeah.
doesn't have any kind of um agenda, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
I gotta bring this up because
Yeah.
we're living in such a time of like cancel culture where
Yes.
everyone's kind of hung up on words and what everyone's
Yeah, yeah.
saying and everyone
Yeah.
needs to say the right
Yeah.
thing. Isn't it fascinating that right now in the play of humanity, it's like we're so hung up on words and
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
needs to say the right words. And it's like,
Yeah.
but all the words are fucking empty. They have
They
no
are.
inherent meaning.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's, I mean, that's such a huge gambit right
Totally.
now.
And
Like the whole cancel culture thing.
it
Yeah.
is, it is. Words. Yeah, yeah, totally. And even in non-duality, words, you know what I'm
God,
saying? It's all
oh,
empty. Yeah.
ugh, you
Yeah.
know,
And
yeah,
and
mhm,
and I there is some, for clarification purposes, I do omit some words, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
no, it's just what's appearing. It's just what's appearing, but
yeah,
everything is empty. But
totally.
the only thing that sees, if there's an agenda, you feel it,
It's a
right?
charge. I mean,
It's a
it's just
charge.
like when you walk into the laundry detergent aisle at the store. It's like you just smell it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You can just
Yeah.
smell it. Yeah, but it's not wrong, of course,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously.
It's stinky, but
Yeah,
it's just what.
it's just like dirty laundry. So what?
Yeah.
Move that way. Move that
It's
way.
a bit moldy. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It is interesting, isn't it?
It
But that
is. It
shows you
is.
already that it's an innate. It's the
Yes.
intuitiveness is innate.
Yeah.
It's just wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is just this. So and I love playing with words now. It's just
Oh
this
God.
playfulness
Yeah.
with words now
Yeah.
that's appearing because
Yeah.
the character is it's just words. You know what I'm saying? But there's also a very kind of like precision now, you know what I'm saying? But really
Mm,
playful and precision and everything because
yeah.
there's no intention in
Right.
anything. So it can flip flop with words and everything.
Hey,
But
it's like two kids shooting the shit.
yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
kids playing.
it's
They're
playing, it's
not trying.
playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Totally.
so when so when the encountering of this communication, it was like, oh shit, this is the apocalypse.
Yeah.
You
For
know,
the sense of separation. Totally. Yeah. It is
yeah,
Armageddon.
the Armageddon of the belief system, the hopes, the
Yeah.
dreams, the and time played a big part in it
Hmm.
because the time was really it's almost like that card that holds together all the illusion. If there's no time, how can
Yes.
there be someone? How
Oh
can there
God.
be
Yeah.
others? If there's
Yeah.
no card, if there's no time, how can there
Hmm.
be free will?
Right. Or even
Yeah,
your past life to clean up or karma. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
or
Yeah.
different dimensions, that kind of stuff.
Gosh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It just brings everything. Yeah.
yeah. I love
Yeah.
this retreats that we do, that you do, what I'm saying? I love the breakout rooms and everything. And it's just
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
because there's a lot of stuff that comes up in it, like the stories
Mm.
about how about this? How about this following something or abiding in this,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and all the questions that come up. So
Mhm.
when I see this kind of like long kind of like 2 days kind of thing, and it's almost kind of like an exhaustion of
Mhm.
all of the questions because really there's no answers.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're totally right. But it's like, it's beautiful because
It's
questions everything
beautiful.
belongs with this, but it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're right. It's like it mutes itself.
Yeah. And there's a clarification. It's just because it's very fuzzy. It's very
Yeah.
fuzzy.
Hmm.
And there's clarification, and I love it when towards the end of questions. I don't know if you the last time that we did, remember the questions started disappearing and there was just this
Yeah, it just gets real
silence.
quiet.
It just
Yeah,
gets really quiet, and
it
there's this
does.
there's this kind of like you can see that there's this is just a story, but there's thoughts happening and really there's nothing behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in it. Yeah.
In it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It is.
There's
And
nothing
there's
off
like
it.
in that atmosphere though, there's, even though this is a dead silence, there's like
Yeah.
an alive atmosphere,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Just
Mm-hmm.
this kind of stuff. And when I used to be a teacher, the workshops were charged,
Mm.
supercharged with how do you say it, intentions and
Oh God, yeah. You
remember
get
that?
people in the same room together with like-minded stuff, like,
Yeah.
like the empowerment type stuff. Oh God, even churchgoers. You seen some of the
Yeah.
raising the roof,
That's
singing,
right. That's right.
dancing.
That's right. And I would do kind of
Yeah.
like, to start, I would do kind of like an eye gazing thing.
Ooh.
Ooh, right?
No.
And then
So.
there's usually crying. And eye gazing is just to kind of like find the oneness or something, that kind of
Right, right.
stuff.
Yeah, no, I
And
get it. Yeah.
some of those practices, are really beautiful. I'm not going to kind of like
Oh
just diss
God,
them.
no, I do find eye contact, because obviously when there is no one distracted, eye
Yeah,
contact actually becomes quite natural.
yeah,
And there is a power in that,
yeah,
because there's no longer mind activity. You actually
yeah,
see what's in front of you.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
fully.
but in
Yeah.
this immediacy and this directness, when
Mhm.
this kind of like retreats happen, it's just this directness and immediacy and this
Mhm.
intimacy, right?
Yes.
That there's no more room for bullshit, right?
Yeah.
It's just this
Hmm.
directness, and I
Yeah.
think that it's actually really kind. When it's
Yes.
really kind, and it's not, to me, that the workshops that I did, although what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
there was a lot of regret, what I'm saying, as a spiritual
Mm.
teacher, there was a lot of
Mm.
suffering, a lot of
Mm.
crying and all this kind of stuff, or
Mm.
even kind of like all the highs was this major lows, what I'm saying.
Oh, it was always a huge polarity swing, like Tarzan,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Totally.
because you're
Right.
kind of like holding this space. You think that you're holding this space for these individuals, and
Yeah.
then you don't want to hurt them. And then
Yeah.
when hurt happens because because you think that, because you don't believe in what you're talking about anymore, there's a
Mhm.
lot of kind of like the cancel culture, right? It's kind of like this
Yeah.
long letters of, I can't believe this, Emerson, and this and that and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Why did you
Yeah.
do this? But they don't really see that the character is just really suffering. It's
Yeah.
really,
Oh
really
gosh.
suffering. And it did
Yeah.
not really mean any intention of hurting anybody, but it was just
Oh
really
no.
in this apparent contraction. It's just
Oh
really
God. Yeah. No one to
contracted.
blame for
Yeah.
sure.
And
Yeah.
then
It's
when
just
they're
operating out of
seeing
stress. Yeah.
and then now when it's seen that that's actually all innocent play.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Isn't that weird? And that's what
It's
we're never
weird.
prepared for.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could say is
Yeah.
that it's
Yeah.
that too.
It's
Yeah.
that too, right?
Yeah.
It's not like denying it or anything like that, but it's seen
No.
clearly as innocence. Everything is innocence, and there's just
Yeah.
no separation whatsoever. And there's
Yeah. No
this
guilt with
clarity.
that. Yeah.
There's this clarity, and in this, and even though kind of like at the guilt of something, because I really thought I was helping them, and when I hear that they're not doing well, there's an ownership to it, right? There's kind of like,
Mm.
oh, I
The
did that.
codependency,
The
the game of
codependency,
codependency. Yeah.
and here, in this apparent sessions, with
Mhm.
the one that you're doing this weekend, it's just
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. There's
Yeah.
just this clarity. There's this
Yeah.
clarity that there's no one being helped because
Yeah.
it's already complete.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. We're all in the garden, and that's really just what we're
yeah,
celebrating.
it's already home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yes.
just there's no time, but it's a reminder. You know what I'm saying?
Ye-
In the apparent dream of time that this is already complete, that this is already paradise.
Isn't that crazy? It's like, because we all know this intuitively, and it's just
Yeah.
like, if someone sits and we communicate about this, it's almost like, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's an obviousness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a beautiful play of nothing, because
Yeah.
nothing's being offered, but there's also this fullness to it. I don't know
Oh
if
God,
you've
yeah.
oh yeah, it's just this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The fullness is like, there's no clinging or attachment to anything.
Yes.
So everything is just zesty and full of life, even
That's
if
right.
that
Yeah.
full of life is something discomfort,
Yeah.
illness, stress. It's just the full of life, fullness of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even when
Mm-hmm.
there's this discomfort, kind of like when someone's reacting and say, F off or something, that's
Mm-hmm.
because there's no hierarchy,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
student, there's no teacher. It's
Mm-hmm.
just this full expression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
Pain's the full expression. I mean,
yeah.
gladness is the full expression.
Yeah.
It's just that whole hurdle just collapses. And it's
Yes.
seen that even what is painful is it
Yeah.
too. And it doesn't have to go. Obviously, the body leans to health, just like
That's
plants
right.
lean to the light. That's very
Yes.
natural.
Yes.
Um, yeah, what's not natural is trying to manipulate what is, trying to
That's
contort,
right.
bend,
That's
and
right.
get things away.
And as
Yeah,
a
we're talking about
teacher, I was trying to manipulate earnestly for them to feel
yeah,
better, for them to kind of like,
right.
coddle and kind of like thinking that there's this messiah complex sometimes that you can save them. And then when someone
Yeah.
says that you've saved them, you're like,
Mhm.
oh, let me put that on my testimonial wall. Nothing
It's on
wrong
my
right
resume
about
now.
that. It's
I've
on my
saved
resume
5
now.
people. Yeah.
And then later on when they relapse or something, you're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of stuff.
Crap.
But
Gosh, yeah,
what's
the magic didn't work, or the meditation didn't work, or the chakra
yeah,
clearing didn't
the
work.
chakra
Yeah.
cleaning didn't work, and then you kind of
Yeah.
like, and then after like 10 years of teaching, it eats
Mhm.
at you
Mm,
that you
I can
feel like a
imagine.
fraud, right? You're kind of
Yeah.
like, ah, you know what I'm saying? And
Uh,
then when a crisis happens in your apparent life, in this apparent
yeah.
character's life, then it's like the collapse of kind of like,
Yeah.
I've been bullshitting all this time.
Mm, yeah.
But no one's
Apparently.
bullshitting, no
Yeah.
one's bullshitting.
No
But
choice in that,
but
of
at that
course.
time, you
Yeah.
you really feel it, and you just really want to
Yeah.
bury yourself and hide.
Yo, no, I get you. There's just, because
Yeah,
there's such a clarity of like, oh my God, I've been telling people to go here and there and do this and that. And it's,
yeah.
oh,
So now
oops.
there's this meetings, and which
Mm,
I love hosting and also doing.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
love the
So much
breakout
fun.
rooms, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the breakout rooms because when I started doing them, you know, they would ask questions, and there was
Mhm.
clarity here for quite a while, right? There's clarity here. So I
Mhm.
did Tony, Jim, yours,
Mhm.
almost everyone's, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there was this fanboying kind of like thing here. There's clarity, but
Oh,
there's
yeah.
fanboying happening. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is really
Yeah.
good communication. And
Yeah.
someone would always say, you should start speaking. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no,
Oh,
no, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
wow.
but there's really no difference between speaking and hosting because there's
Oh,
no
no.
one. And it's just
Yeah.
beautiful. It's just
Yeah.
beautiful. So I'm
Well, we're
really
taking
excited.
turns.
Yeah, so I'm really
Yeah.
excited with this coming up weekend because it's I
Yeah.
haven't done in a while. I just been
Yeah.
speak in a while.
Mm,
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Switch it up a little
Switch it
bit,
up a
right?
bit. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just all play. It's just all play.
Yes.
And it's just this
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful, sometimes, challenging is also wonderful, by the way,
Yeah,
everything.
it can be challenging in that space, but yeah, it's really a space of just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nakedness, which obviously
Yeah.
being exposed, so to speak, can be a little,
Yeah.
mm,
It's the
mm.
rawness of it. It's raw.
Yeah, it's raw. It's
It's
raw,
raw.
and no
Raw.
one wants to be told you're it. This is it. It's
Yeah.
like literally,
Yeah.
it's like throwing salt on a slug or
Yes.
something.
Yes. Or there's
Yeah.
this woundedness that appears, and the woundedness that appears is being kind of like seen as um
Mm. Yeah,
yeah, whatever.
I get
That's
you.
what's
Yeah,
appearing there. If there's
yeah.
whatever, it's not like let's meditate for, let's go into silence. You know what I'm saying? To do that.
Right, right.
It's not
Silence
not
can totally arise, but it's from just
yeah,
like a
yeah.
natural
It's not
response.
a
Yeah.
forced thing. There's no
Mhm.
prescription. It's like,
Right.
there's this imaginary, or whatever. There's this
Yeah.
woundedness, and then you're trying to put a band-aid on it. which is which
Right.
is which which is all right too. You know what I'm saying? That in the
Right. But hey, you know
dream,
what? Sometimes you got to take the Band-Aid off and let it breathe.
that's right. And
You
this
got to
is
let
what
it
it
breathe.
is. This is what it is.
Yeah.
This is the breathing of the back,
Yeah.
the
We're letting
rawness.
it get a scab, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's our nice examples, folks.
Yeah. Well, Anna, thank you. This is an awesome chat. I wanted to do this like chat with you because
Yeah.
it's just really fun. Although nothing really
Yes.
happened, none of that happened.
I
It's still
know.
fun. None
Oh,
of the
no, it
seeking
was.
happened.
Yeah.
None of those stories even happened. It's still fun because it's
Mm.
always home.
Yes. And that's the whole real and real is and
Yes.
isn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In and out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. At the same time. How do we
At
do
the
that?
same time.
Yeah. Can't
At the
describe
same
it.
time.
Sorry.
So I'll see you on Thursday. We're going to do kind of like a live thing, Q&A.
Yes.
And then on
Yeah.
the weekend, there's this awesome, wonderfully nothing retreat for 2 days. I'll be in the breakout room.
Yeah.
I have fun
Yeah.
in the breakout room and love you.
Yeah. Feel free to come, folks.
Yes, we'll see you. We'll see you. Thank you. Bye, Anna.
Mhm. Bye,
I'll pause
Emerson.
this now.